Sal's Used Cars and Junk, a short story by Jaramya Rattle. Chapter 1. Artie buys a car. Artie needed a car. He needed a cheap one, and he needed it soon. Without it, taking out his new girlfriend would be rather difficult. He had a car only a week ago, but somehow it's gone now. When strange things happened there, people didn't tend to question it. Like the time Artie's classmate, Linda Sneed, a 7-year-old girl, beat the principal, a full-grown man, to death, and then got put on death row. This was the 7th car lot Artie had gone to this afternoon, at least he thought. Things like time and numbers are hard to keep track of there. No one had a set age, and you could never get the exact time. One moment you checked the clock and it was 9:30, 2 minutes later it was 9:11. This lot, Sal's Used Cars and Junk, was by far the worst looking. Everything in Artie's city was junk, but these were exceptionally awful. That's why Artie chose it last. If he couldn't afford a car here, he was fucked. Sal wore a worn leather jacket, dirty denim jeans, and dark hair always slicked back with pomade. He approached Artie with a wide, toothpick-holding grin and extended a hand.
Hiya, how you doing today, sir?
So, Artie says, shaking his hand.
I hear on that. You looking for a car?
Yeah, I've been looking all day, at least I think.
What kind you looking for?
Cheap?
I got cheap. Come take a look at this 83 Toyota I got with a hole in the roof.
Sal walked Artie over to the car. It was rusted with fading blue paint and a giant hole in the hood. Artie wasn't really in the position to be picky.
How much?
About $875. Shit, I only have $500. You sure it's the cheapest you got?
Afraid so.
Sal stroked his chin as Artie started to walk away. Sal stopped him.
Wait, there's one other car I got. It's technically cheaper.
How much?
I'll take whatever you got.
Well, sure, but what's wrong with it?
Well, come look for yourself.
Sal leads Artie into the garage. There was a car covered by a dirty tan tarp. From what Artie could tell, it resembled something from the 60s. After short hesitation, Sal pulled back the tarp. The car was from the 60s, but in great shape, even shiny. Artie hadn't seen a car with shine on it since he was a child. It was so distant, he wasn't even sure it was an actual memory.
It looks great.
You sure something's wrong with it? Sal motions for Artie to look inside. At first glance, everything is normal. Then he notices the back seat is human skin, with veins, hair, and all. It was living human flesh.
The fuck?
Artie asked.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty unsightly. Not sure how it got that way, but I can barely stomach looking in the damn thing. I don't even want to think of sitting in it.
It made Artie want to be sick, but fuck it. What other options were there? Is that all that's wrong with it?
Well, yeah, it runs great and everything.
I guess I'll take it, Artie said, handing Sal a few wadded up bills.
I'll grab the keys for you.
Sal excitedly ran off. Chapter 2. Artie meets Marcus. Artie drove down a good 3 miles. At least, that's what he thought before he heard the voice. The voice, clouded with decades of chain smoking, would have startled him even if he had expected it. The Tom Waits song came on the radio. It was one of Artie's favorites, so he turned it up. He felt a craving for a cigar and a bourbon and soda. The stogie in the ashtray would have to do for now. He lit it up, puffing lightly and singing along. That's when he heard the voice, causing him to almost run off the road.
Can I bum a few drags? Jesus, fuck.
Artie slams the brakes, looking for the source of the voice.
And turn that shit up if you're going to sing along. You know Tom Waits, kid.
That's when he saw it. A small face on the back seat, right in the center on the upper backrest.
Who the fuck are you? You're a friendly one. How about a puff of that stogie, man?
How about you get the fuck out of my car?
I am your car, asswipe. Now you gonna pass that or not?
How are you the whole car? You look like just a seat to me.
Looks can be deceiving. What the fuck do you know about cars anyway?
I guess you have a point there. You're the first, whatever you are that I've seen.
Well, if you're done gawking at me like some sideshow freak, how about that stogie?
Perplexed, Artie passes the cigar, having to stick it in the face's mouth. Now, do you mind telling me who the hell you are? The car seat coughed as he spoke.
The name's Siegfried.
but just call me Marcus.
So, you're the car. That's your skin on the seat?
Don't you have any cigarettes?
I don't smoke them too often. I mostly smoke cigars. Every now and then I get a craving for a Lucky.
Yeah, you must have such refined taste,
Marcus said.
Can we stop and get some?
I'd rather not smell cigarettes in my car.
Your car? A little fucking respect here, please.
Sorry, I'm not used to having a car that talks or smokes or listens to Tom Waits.
Hey, all cars smoke.
Artie sighs, really wanting that bourbon now. Is there any way I can get you out of here? I got a big date coming up.
Is there a way you can get me out of myself? What do you think?
Well, we've got to do something. I can't have you come along.
Why the fuck not?
It's a date. I wouldn't want a third wheel, even one that wasn't a talking back seat.
Hey, asshole, I told you I'm the whole car.
Fine. Whole car or not, I'll make you a deal. If you just keep quiet my whole date, I'll buy you a pack now and a whole carton after.
A whole carton? You, my friend, have a deal.
I'm serious, Marcus. She's a girl that I've had my eye on for a while now.
Oh, big date, huh? Any chance you'll get a porker in my back seat? It's the best view I'll get.
Marcus let out an obnoxious laugh. Artie now knew why Sal was so eager to get rid of it. Chapter 3. Artie drinks with friends. The bar was just down the street from Artie's house, only a couple miles away. Marcus had already gone through a quarter of Artie's pack of Luckies.
The carton had better be Winston's. The deal's off.
Sure thing, just don't be a bother with my friends tonight either. We'll probably go for a drive after a few drinks at the bar.
Sure, just bring me a beer.
When Artie was getting into the bar's parking lot, he could see through the window that his friends were already there. He parked far in the back. The air that day was dry, hot, and full of dirt, like every day seemed to be around there. You could feel it scratch your lungs and coat your skin. The bar was in a large, dilapidated shack. There were many holes in the wooden walls and ceilings. The holes casted many beams of light through the room. The smoke from cigarettes was dancing through the various beams of light. His friends were at their usual booth. Like always, they had his favorite beer waiting for him. His friend Lee had been his best friend as far back as they could both remember. Back in high school, they had bonded over sneaking out of class to smoke joints and drink beer. Nowadays, she was the only one who could keep up with Artie when they drank. His other friends, James and Z, were already being obnoxious, shouting, laughing, and spilling their drinks. It was a talent they both seemed blessed with. "Hey, Artie, get the fuck over here and drink your beer before I do," James shouted across the room. James put his arm around Z's shoulder almost violently. Both of them spilled beer as he did so. They were obnoxious, but had a charming way about it. He'd only known James and Z for a short time, maybe a month, or it could be a year or two. It was hard to say. "Thanks for grabbing me one. I got the next round," Artie said to Lee. "Oh, what makes you think she bought it?" "How do you know I didn't buy it?" James playfully said. "You never bought a round of drinks since I've known you," Artie joked. The others laugh, and James shrugs in reluctant agreement. After a few more rounds, Artie, Lee, and the guys leave the bar. James and Z are already staggering. "So, let's see this new ride, Artie," James said, letting out a hiccup as he did so. "About that, just to warn you." "What, does it have a gaping hole in the top? Fuck it, it's a convertible," Z joked. "Where is it anyway?" "Over in the back there," Artie said as he pointed to it. Lee noticed the pristine 60s-era car. "Oh, where'd you score that beauty?" she asked. "A place called Sal's, and she's not all she looks to be." "Does she run bad?" Not exactly. Just see for yourselves." Artie walks him to the car. James and Z sit in the back seat, too hammered to notice Marcus. "So what's the..." Before Lee could finish, Marcus coughed from the back.
"Oh, don't tell me you forgot the damn beer."
"Shit, I did forget."
"Fucking typical. Let's go get some."
James and Z just now noticed Marcus. You guys seeing that too?" Z asked cautiously.
"What, am I talking to myself here?"
Yeah, we'll go get you some beer," Artie moaned as he started the car. "The fuck is that thing?" Lee exclaimed.
"My name's Marcus, you insensitive bitch."
"Your back seat just called me a bitch," Lee exclaimed gleefully. "Yeah, I know, it's a long story," Artie said. "Where'd you say you got this again?" "A place called Sal's." How did this Sal guy manage to sell you a car with a little dude in the back? It was cheap, you know how broke I am. Is he, cool?
Hey, fuckhead, I speak your language. You can speak to me directly.
Marcus angrily coughed. Sorry, I'm just not used to talking back seats, Lee said.
I'm not the seat. I'm the whole...
What kind of beer? Artie interrupts.
Eh?
Artie puts the car in park, now outside a small store. The beer. What brand?
Oh, Thrifty's Light.
Marcus shouted.
Thrifty's Light?
Artie almost wants to puke at the thought. He couldn't get out of the car fast enough. Chapter 4. Artie and Lee get rid of Marcus. Artie bought a 30-pack. He was going to need a few more drinks to put up with Marcus. It had the classic watered-down Thrifty's taste. Lee and Artie had agreed to drop off James and Z, then try to take the car back to this Sal guy. The trouble with this place was the large gaps between locations. Made it easy to get lost. Marcus's snoring didn't help. How long did you drive down this road before you saw the place? Maybe 40 minutes. An album's average runtime or so? Lee lit up a cigarette and wiped the sweat off her forehead. Her exhale bordered on a sigh. As smoke filled the car, Marcus's snoring came to a halt. His gravelly, sleep-heavy voice barks from the back seat.
Hey, you let me bum one of those, man?
Marcus pleaded. You've got a whole pack, Artie barked back.
Come on, man. You're taking me back and you won't even give me a goodbye smoke.
You make it sound like we're friends.
That's cold, man.
It's fine, Lee interjected and passed him a cigarette. Marcus happily accepted it.
I can't believe you're going back on a deal, man. You didn't even give me a chance to behave on the date.
Marcus coughed out with a cloud of smoke. It's nothing personal. You just can't risk your, crude demeanor, Lee said.
Fuck you, motherfucker. I'm not crude.
Smoke blows against Lee's face. Clearly, Lee said, waving the smoke away.
Look, I'm sorry, okay? I just feel like it's bullshit. I don't even get a chance,
Marcus explained. It's like Lee said. I just can't risk it.
How you gonna take this girl out with no wheels?
Even the public bus is a better impression than you.
You gotta be shitting me. The bus with the hobos that piss green and the nut jobs that only speak gibberish?
Artie stopped the car, and he looked at Lee with a look of disappointing realization. Fuck it. He's right, you know. You want to go back to your place? Finish these shit beers? Lee asked.
Fuck you. Thrifty's kicks ass.
Marcus coughed. Artie puts the car in gear and drives off. With the radio blasting, he remained silent the whole ride home. Artie and Lee sat on the hood, smoking and sipping on beer. They looked at the stars. On nights as clear as this one was, you could see all 12 of them. They were a marvel to see at once, not like the dull spiral galaxy that gave most of the night its light. These were isolated, twinkling, and majestic. Marcus was snoring away, oblivious to the conversation happening on the hood. Maybe it will all go good, Lee said in a half-assed attempt to give him hope. Really? With Marcus over there as third wheel? Well, maybe he'll barely be an issue. Just go to a sit-in joint or something. That's the problem. My favorite film is rescreening at the drive-in. Fuck, Lee says and sips her beer. Artie chucks his and lays back on the windshield. Why don't we just take him out? Lee suggests. Take him out? Artie asked. Yeah, just take out the back seat and there's no Marcus. Problem solved, right? Artie had thought of himself before, but it just seemed too easy. Artie figured it would never be that simple. Nothing ever is. I don't know. You said he's the whole car, not just the seat. What if we take him out and the whole thing doesn't work? Artie points out. Come on, Artie. Do you really believe a word that asshole says? Artie looked over his shoulder at Marcus, who was snoring away. Oh, wait, fuck it then. Let's drive out on the road a little bit, pull him out and ditch him. They got in the car and started as quietly as they could, driving away, being sure to leave Marcus undisturbed. Marcus woke up to a clanking metal sound and the feeling of the car being shaken. When he opened his eyes, he saw the car was moving to his left. He was being pulled out.
Whoa, what the fuck are you doing to me?
We're getting rid of you, Marcus, Artie said, surprised to feel a little bit bad for him.
You can't do that. I am this car.
Guess we'll find out, Artie said, and Lee and him got in the car. The car started. Come on, guys. We can be friends, Marcus cried, his voice cracking. I'll behave, I swear. The car drove off. Marcus watched as it became two distant red taillights. He heard something walking around in the desert behind him. He stayed quiet, trying not to breathe. He was alone, without the protective shell of his car for the first time in decades. He felt the cold night air and began to cry. Chapter 5. Artie's Big Date. Artie was meeting the girl at the drive-in cinema. Artie made sure to try and get there early. Not an easy task with the way time worked there. He parked the car in a spot close to the entrance, giving him a good view of both parking lot entrances. He got out of the car and climbed up onto the roof, sat on top of it waiting. He stared at the faces in the cars as they drove by, listened to some oldies on the radio, then visited the concession stand, twice. Still nothing from her. He'd waited for what felt like a few hours before he decided to get out his phone and call. It took him another 30 minutes or so to get the courage to dial the number. When he did, the number rang. It rang and it rang again. I did this over and over until he eventually gave up and ended the call. She's probably just running late, that's all. Don't fret like you always do. Artie climbed back into the car and picked up the pack of Luckies he had bought for Marcus. Only 4 were left. He grabbed one and lit it up. By the time the film they were going to see started, he was finishing the 4th. Fuck it. He got out his phone to try her one more time. This time he didn't hesitate to dial. Also this time, she didn't hesitate to answer. Hello? Artie asked with desperation. She was even less hesitant to hang up without saying a word. Artie got the hint and went into the movie without her. The movie was actually pretty good. It was an old monster film with a killer nuclear panda. Artie would have enjoyed it had he been in a better mood. Being stood up by the girl he'd been chasing for months spoiled any chance of him having a good time. Upon realizing this, he drove out before the second act had even started. He was craving a cigarette and a beer more than ever. Artie put a 6-pack on the convenience store counter. The old man behind the counter resembled a mummified corpse, with his dry, wrinkled skin tightly wrapped around a skeleton-like figure. "A pack of Lookies, too, please," Artie said. The old man turned around and reached for the pack of cigarettes, never saying a word. Artie noticed the Winstons and thought of Marcus. Now that he thought about it, Marcus wasn't so bad. It was mostly that he didn't want to embarrass him in front of the girl, who, after all that, stood him up. Artie paid and thanked the old man and then left. When Artie got in his car, he lit up a cigarette, thinking of the girl. Soon he wouldn't even remember her name. He popped open a beer, and he took a sip and looked into the rearview mirror. He saw the empty place where the back seat should have been, and realized something that made him bitterly laugh, even in his state of misery. He actually missed the fucker.